Hello, millionaires. Welcome to the Millionaire Money Podcast, episode 23. Today, we're going to talk about why it sometimes feels like your money is flying away from you, even though you are working very hard, and exactly what you need to do to go and find your money so that it can come back and get to work for you. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. So today we're going to have a conversation, right? It's a very important one, especially since right now a lot of people are talking about making more money, whether it's in your business or getting a promotion, getting a raise, earning more. I talk about that stuff as well. You hear some other people talk about like doing multiple jobs, side hustles, whatever you got to do to get that bag, right? I wanted today to talk about a part of this that people don't often share or reflect on or get very serious about that can actually have a very big impact on you. And so what I want to talk about actually came out of a conversation that I had with a friend earlier in the year. And he shared with me how he had a friend who was an entrepreneur, multiple eight-figure entrepreneur. The guy had done extremely well financially when it came to his earnings, and he passed away unexpectedly, which was, very, very sad. And this friend of mine just happened to be the person that was going to be officiating. So he was both an entrepreneur as well as a pastor. So he was asked to officiate this funeral. And he said, after the funeral, the wife of the person who had passed away came to him and, he was kind of talking to her and saying, well, at least you guys will be taken care of, financially. And she shared with him that actually that's part of the stress right now is that they had, I think he mentioned it was like $1,000 in the account. For him, like just the shock of knowing this friend of his, knowing how much money he had earned. So he was actually sharing this story with me because he was like, Toyin, like a lot of people need your help. And it's not just people who maybe can't figure out how they're going to pay the bills next month. It's people who look like they're doing extremely well, who are earning a lot of money. And part of what made that story so heartbreaking was because he was earning so much, he actually didn't even have life insurance. I mean, nobody would have stressed that to him and he wouldn't have thought about it because he's earning. Like he can just earn whatever he needs to earn to take care of his family. And nobody expects a short end on this earth, right? My friend was now sharing the story with me and he was just like, Toyin, it's so critical what you're doing in sharing and talking about not just how to make money, but what people need to do with their money. Like it is so necessary because a lot of people don't think about that, especially when they are high earners. And so today I want to speak to some of you guys who are high earners. So you are already doing multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, multiple 7 figures. And you've been tracking with the podcast, tracking with our videos and our community. And I want to share with you guys one of the top traps that people who earn a lot of money can fall into. The conversation I'm going to have with you guys, first of all, is going to be very, very honest. And I'm going to be very honest with you because when you are doing very well, the people that are around you tend to just be yes men and women. And what does that mean? They're already so impressed by what you've created, by the income that you are earning, that they just go along with what you say. So you can imagine this person earning 8 figures and maybe somebody multiple 8 figures and somebody may have mentioned it and he's like, I know what I'm doing. And the people around them will just be like, yeah, you do know what you're doing. And so a lot of the time, because we are doing well in your earning, it completely blinds you to the weak areas in your financial game because everyone says, oh, you're great, you're good. And then part of that becomes, if you start to put on this mask of, based on your earnings, everything's okay, everything is good, you actually start to believe your own hype instead of doing the real work of actually being prepared financially, actually getting financially free, actually making those financial decisions and understanding what your plan is, what you're creating, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. And so we've worked with a lot of high net worth people. We've worked with a lot of people who are high earners, because those are two separate things, y'all. And I found that for a lot of the high earners, coming into our room is a real wake up call for them, because we take everybody through a series of exercises around their relationship with money. And even talking about that, like, a lot of people who earn a lot of money assume that you have a wonderful relationship with money. You're like, I receive money all the time, and money flows to me easily. And so because money flows to me easily, I must have a phenomenal relationship with money. I must be very comfortable with money. What a lot of them actually realize, because part of our process that we walk people through, and you guys will notice that in these videos, I'm going into a lot more depth about our processes, but part of our process is to literally sit with that person and help them to recognize the real beliefs that they are having about money and the impact that those beliefs are having in their bank account, in their lifestyle, in reality. And one of the things that is so powerful about this is a lot of people tell me that it's one of the only times they've ever gotten to get gut level honest with themselves. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there is a version of you, whether you like it or not, that is who you have to be when you're leading your team, when you're leading your family. You know, you want to give them that place of confidence that you know what you're doing. But then there's this version of you, and I often call this the version of you right before you go to sleep. You know, right before you go to sleep is this beautiful, sacred almost moment where you get to lean in. Right before you fall asleep is this time where you get to really see what your brain is really thinking, what's really floating around in the subconscious part of your mind. Often thoughts will just come up, right? It's in those moments right before you go to sleep that you're not having to carry anything for anyone or be anything for anyone else but yourself, and you get to see what's really happening. It's interesting because one of my markers for myself, whenever I need to do, so we have this process, the neuroscience process called the diamond effect. That's for shifting like subconscious beliefs and stuff like that. So for me, one of my markers, like a daily check, is right before I go to bed, because one of my emotional homes, so I talk a lot about emotional home. My emotional home is gratitude, joy, laughter. And often before I go to bed, in that like silent moment, I'm usually in a space of gratitude, right? So I'm usually in this place of like geeky level gratitude, like thank you, Abba. You know, and I'm just talking to God and I'm just so grateful. And sometimes I'm like awake, keeping myself up out of gratitude. So one of my cues when I'm off, when something's going on, when there's an ick there that I actually need to clear out, is that it's right before I go to bed, and instead of gratitude, there's something else. So it could be worry, it could be numbers running through my head, it could be just random things. And I know, curiosity, maybe there's something here that I need to look into. So why am I getting into all of this? Because many of us don't pause to notice what your true relationship with money is, and make this mistake of assuming that because you are receiving money, because you are doing well in everybody else's eyes, that everything is capiche, everything is good, everything is well. And the problem with that way of thinking and that way of operating is, if there's any gaps in your financial system, You only find out after the fact. You only find out, for some of you, you probably know this feeling where you worked all year long, you worked very hard, you earned a lot of money, you did, you saw that money come in, and then tax time comes. And when tax time comes, you look at the number, and many of you people, you're sitting with your accountant and you're like, no. Like, no, I did not earn that amount of money because it's not reflected in the bank account. And so many people get this like shock at tax season because they're like, there's two-way shock. One of them is, whoa, I earned that much. Where is it? And the second one is, whoa, I earned that much and I owe that much. Oh boy, am I ready for it? Did I get prepared? Like, you get what I mean? And so the reason I'm having this conversation with y'all, especially those of you who are high earners, is because you have to be awake. You have to be aware of your money game. And it's not enough. It's not okay to be an expert in what you do in your business and choose not to be an expert in money itself. Because those are two separate things. You can be an amazing business strategist and not have the right relationship with money. You can be a phenomenal healthcare provider, a phenomenal CEO of an agency. You can be all these things, but if you don't have the right relationship with money, you're going to surprise yourself one day, and it's not going to be a cool surprise. And so one of the things that I just want y'all to understand is that earning more doesn't change much. Like, yes, it can help you to breathe a little bit better. But what I've actually noticed is that in the work we do, some of the most stressed people that we work with are the people who earn more. Why would that be? Because when someone is earning less, they know that, well, maybe the reason I'm in this financial struggle, this feast and famine, this back and forth, like I just don't feel good about my money. Maybe that's because I'm not earning enough. So there's this like kind of buffer thought of, if I could just earn enough. So let's say somebody is earning $3,000 a month. They're like, if I could just earn $10,000 a month, man, all the stuff will be solved. It'll all be better. I'll feel so much better, all that stuff. But now here you are earning 10K a month, 50K a month, 200, 300,000 a month. And you're in that same cycle of like, where's the money going? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. That feeling doesn't get fixed by just earning more. And so I find that for a lot of our clients that are high earners, when they come into our room, it's this like detective work that we do to figure out what's really going on here. Because there's always something that your subconscious is holding onto that is creating the reality that you're looking at, especially when you are earning a high amount of money. And so one of the things that I always emphasize is that just because you have studied your craft, you have studied how to provide value to the world, which is a beautiful thing. It is a necessary thing, the exchange of value for you to be paid. But you also need to be able to study and learn how to make that money that you're earning begin to work for you. But not just know it in your head, because once again, many of you guys, you study the stuff. So you know it in your head, you know it in your logical brain, you're able to talk to yourself and you're able to say like, okay, this is what I'm going to do with the money. These are the plans that I have, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, and if you're listening to the audio only podcast, I'm doing those quotations. For some reason, even though you know it, it doesn't produce fruit. Even though you know it, some way, somehow, that money just leaves your account. And many people, that money will find a way to leave the account through a process that feels okay for you. Wait, what, Toyin? What do you mean by this? What I mean is this. So you can be comfortable with earning money and earning lots and lots and lots of it, but not keeping it. Okay, let me not go into a British accent before all my British followers are like, Toyin, what are you even trying to do right now? Okay. You can be very comfortable with earning money, but not comfortable with keeping and multiplying money. And those are two different aspects of your relationship with money. And so for the people who are often not comfortable with keeping it or multiplying it, they will always find a way for that money to leave. So let's say you earn 6 figures and you used to earn 5 figures a year. And now you're 6 figures and you should have this extra money. It's like as soon as your income increases, your expense has to overtake it. I remember working with a woman who grew up and her dad was a doctor. He earned, I think she said $300,000 a year. And she had like just this really, really messed up relationship with money. She had so much scarcity in her brain about money. Like there's never enough was the story in her mind around money. And when she came to me, she's like, Toyin, I truly don't understand why my brain is so committed to the belief that there is never enough. And it's created never enough in her life. She said, because my dad had money. Like my dad, I grew up, he had $300,000 a year. And so we dug a little deeper. And what we found was, even though her dad was earning $300,000 a year, he was spending pretty much $350,000 a year. So he was living out of this space of scarcity, and that scarcity impacted what he did with money despite however much he earned. And now for her life experience and her growing up experience, she watched her parents fight about money, and she watched her parents eventually, unfortunately, get divorced because of money. And so, of course, what does that tell her subconscious? Money is not safe. It's not okay to have too much money, because if you have too much money, it causes problems. You lose relationships if you have too much money. Having so much money doesn't even make sure that there's enough money, because there's never enough. Guys, there is a difference between being comfortable with earning money and being comfortable with keeping money and multiplying money. And anyone who's not comfortable with keeping and multiplying will find a way for it to go. So what do I mean by that? And there's just a lot of like meat to this conversation. I really want to have this conversation with those of you guys who are earning more. So for example, some people will tell me, Toyin, I don't understand where the money is going, because I'm not even like a spender. I'm not a spendthrift. I don't go shopping for clothes all the time. I'm not that person that's like looking for luxury brands. I wear normal stuff. I eat normal stuff, but I still don't know where my money is going. And so what we find often is the money will go wherever you feel comfortable with the money going, but it will go however it needs to go. So for example, we'll have people where they have a bad relationship with keeping and multiplying money. And because of that, they have back to back random emergencies always coming up. One of our clients who just came into the room, and we've been assisting her to shift this, she had 3 tire blowouts in her car in like the span of a month. Why? Because she had made the most money, and then the money needed to find a way to get out quickly. We've seen people where they make that money, they won't be comfortable buying clothing, but they'll buy this, extremely expensive car and they'll justify it in their head going, I need the car to get where I'm going because I need a reliable car. But they get more than reliable, if you know what I mean, right? So they get something that ends up taking the money and putting them back in square one and in struggle. And they're wondering, but I used it for something responsible. And now y'all know me and cars. Cars are depreciating assets. I'm not hating on getting a car, and I'm not hating on getting a nice car. But what I'm saying is you get the fun stuff, the car and out of the money that you make from your assets and not out of the money that you're earning from your labor. And for some people, that just happens to be the area and avenue where they're willing to allow that money to flow and get wasted. And for some people, they spend their money on things like subscriptions. So they'll subscribe to this, subscribe to that. They don't check their subscriptions, and it begins to blow up and balloon and balloon and balloon, because one day maybe I'll need it. Or they will use that money in shopping because one day maybe they'll need those things. But however it has to go, that money's gotta go. That money can't sit in their account. And so you even have some people where they have clothing that they've bought and it still has tags on it. And guys, I'm saying this to you as a wake-up call for some of you. I'm saying this to you as a wake-up call. This is, you guys know me. I love y'all. Y'all are walking with me. You are multimillionaires and you are going to have your passive. You're going to have your financial freedom. You're going to build for the long haul. You're going to leave a legacy for your family, for your children. You're going to leave something that not just the money in the bank, but a way of thinking about money that no one else in your family had before. So when I'm having these conversations with y'all, understand that it's not coming out of a place of judgment, because I have made lots of financial mistakes myself. You guys know my story. I've made lots of these. But at this point, I'm going to call this out. Okay? Some of you guys still have tags on the stuff that you've bought. You haven't even used it for a month, for a year. It's just sitting there because the money had to find a place to go. It had to find a way to get out of your account and back into other people's, essentially. And so what is my point? My point is you need to not just focus on what you're earning, but you need to begin to pay attention to what is not just what you're spending, y'all. Because some of you guys are going to hear this and you're going to miss the actual core of what I'm trying to tell you here. It's not just about what you're spending. It's not just that you have, 5 different programs that you're doing at the one time and you're not doing any of them. It's not just the people who end up spending it on alcohol, on smoking, on drugs, on random things. It's that you are not comfortable keeping the money. That is what matters. Because some people, if I tell you, I never tell people just don't spend. That's why I don't do the don't spend challenges just like that. Why? Because it doesn't matter. I can tell you don't spend and you will not spend for 30 days. But then after the 30 days, you're going to overspend to make up for the scarcity that you put yourself in. It's just like dieting and that crash dieting lifestyle. This isn't about that. This isn't about what are you spending your money on, though a part of it is, but that's the surface. That's the symptom. This is about why? Curiosity. I wonder why I keep going to feast and famine. If you run a business, your business should be able to be its own bank. It's not always going to be roses, lollipops, whatever the song goes. I was speaking to a client recently and she said that they had a very difficult month. But she said, we used our own business bank to cover that month. And now we're back and we just keep growing. And so if you're running a business and your business cannot be its own bank, there's times where, like within the last 2 years, I took 11 months away from doing the business full time actively because I really wanted to do a community project. So I was working on the community project full time. And in that time, our revenue was not what it normally is. So what happened? The business was its own bank for 11 months. And then I was able to come back into the business, get back to work, get back to service, and begin to scale the business just like I never left. So what is my point? My point is this. If you are a high earner, you actually have this amazing opportunity in front of you to create a lasting legacy. You have an opportunity to leverage what you are receiving in your career, in your income, in your business, in whatever it is that you're doing to earn that money. You have leverage to work with, but it will only work if you fix your relationship with money. And it's not something that you're going to muscle your way through, because for a lot of high earners, you're used to just working hard to get things done. I'm just going to muscle my way through. I'm just going to force myself, because the truth, like I said, no spending challenges. If you force yourself in one direction, your subconscious, your brain is going to get tired of it and you're going to go in the opposite direction and undo everything you just did. So what you are needing to do right now is to actually look inward and be gut level honest with yourself. What is it that I believe about having and multiplying large amounts of money? What do I really think about being a multimillionaire? You know, I wrote a post recently. I said, what's the first word that comes to mind when you think about being a multimillionaire? And just the different answers were simple clues, little snapshots for each person who responded to us to see what their own subconscious thinks about them being a multimillionaire. And based on those answers, a lot of the time, it can determine whether or not that person is able to actually create it. And sometimes it'll be like, yes, of course, that's what I want. That's easy. That's accessible. But then the question becomes, is it safe? Is it a place that you can stay in, that you can sit in, that you can be comfy in, and that you can multiply in? Because you think about people who win the lottery. How many people want to win the lottery? Tons of people. All the hands go up. How many people want to win the lottery? Absolutely. Sure. Yes. But when the person does win the lottery, a majority of the time, they don't feel safe. Their subconscious does not feel safe with that amount of money. So what does it do? It gets rid of it. And so you hear these stories about many people who win the lottery and end up worse off than before they ever won the lottery. It's just like myself. I ran a business when I was 16 to 18. First major business was a painting. We did interior, exterior painting of homes. And in those 2 years, I did about $150,000 in the business. Now, for a teenager, that is crazy phenomenal. That's amazing. However, my relationship with money was not okay. I didn't even know anything about this stuff. So do you know what I did? I came out of the season where I earned the most money I had ever earned with the most debt I had ever had. Before I ran that business, I had $0 debt. After I ran that business and had earned 6 figures, I now left the business with tens of thousands of dollars of debt. Can you imagine that? So this is what I'm saying, where if you are earning more than you have before, if there was ever a time, a moment for you to get serious about what your brain is saying to you about money, if you're setting big goals for 2023, if you're declaring and you're knowing, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to bring in, then you better check in with your own subconscious and you better bring stuff to the surface, clear it out so you can build, but you can build in a way that you multiply, in a way that is full of rest and joy and peace and ease and flow. And so I just want to say to y'all, if you're watching this video, if you're listening to the podcast, we are going to be telling you very soon, very excited about this. We're going to be letting y'all know very, very soon something that I am going to be bringing to our community all over, all the different areas where y'all track with me and track with our company. We're going to be bringing something real special to you very soon, where we're going to be working with you to help you not just earn a lot, but sustain it, keep it, multiply it so that it actually begins to make a long-term impact for you and for your family. So if you are watching this video or you are listening to this podcast, I want to invite you to go ahead. First of all, if you want to just have a free consultation with us right now and have us help you find out what is going on in your subconscious about money, then you want to book a call with us at moneymindsetShift.ca/call. moneymindsetShift.ca/call, and you'll be speaking with a member of my team. We'll be able to assist you and serve you in figuring out where are your thoughts around money and what do you need to shift in order to make sure that you're scaling with rest and ease and flow. And if you don't already, I want to invite you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, Toyin Crandell, Money Mindset Shift. Search us up. Find us, because I am going to make this announcement and there is a limited number of people that we are going to be working with in what I'm going to be announcing. You want to find us so that you can be one of the first people to hear about it when we release it. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. If you did, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave us a wonderful review. Thank you to those of you guys who already have. I love y'all, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Hey millionaires, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here or visit moneymindset.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.